Hello everyone. Today I'll give you a few tips on what to check for query optimization and to properly utilize the system. First of all, you should always define an index. If you don't have an index defined and you create a table, the data might be skewed on one amp or a few amps. So what happens is in Teradata, AMP is basically a logical processing unit, and space or the hard drive, CPU, RAM is all logically divided between the amps. So, for example, if you have a system which has 3 amps, what happens is all the space and the CPU and everything is divided between these. So, if I don't define an index, there's a possibility that 90% of my data is skewed on 1 amp. 1 amp has 5% and the third amp has 5%. So what will happen is, first of all, I cannot insert any data onto this space because it will all be blocked. This happens when you, for example, when you check a database, there is always some free space available, but you cannot create a table in it. So this is the reason why you cannot create a table in the free space, because the data is skewed on one amp and it has blocked sectors on other amps. So another issue which is related to skewness is that when your data is skewed, when you try to process this data, the CPU is also divided. So CPU processing 5% data might take 10 seconds on this amp, 10 seconds in parallel on this amp, and maybe around 2 minutes on this amp. So what will happen is your query will automatically take 2 minutes. So if the data was properly divided or it was not skewed, then your query could have taken around 30 seconds, because all amps would be processing in parallel and the data would have been compiled quicker. So the other issue that you face is spool. Usually a query spools out. So what happens is, spool is basically the free space on all amps. So if you have 90% data on this amp and if you select the data from this table, automatically the spool of this table will also go up, because now the spool will be 90% skewed. So what happens is, if you have 90% skewness over here, so whenever your spool space goes out on even a single amp, your query spools out. So normally you guys see that you have around 9 terabytes of spool. So if your query is perfectly accurate and it's not skewed, your query should spool out around this figure. But when you see your query spooling out at around 300 GB or anything less than this, it means your query is skewed. So if you first of all define the primary index accurately, your query won't spool out. You won't destroy all this reserved space, and your processing will be quicker. So these are all the impacts. This only happens when you define an inaccurate index or when you don't define an index. Sometimes people think only set tables require an index. That's not the case. You can also create indexes on multi-set tables. So it is highly recommended that you create multi-set tables with accurate indexes. This will resolve all these above problems. Thank you.